Hey guys, welcome back. If you are new here, I am Amber of Unique Upcycles. And if you guys saw my last video where I made over the ultimate trash dresser and the hot mess dresser, it did sell within a few hours of listing to a really sweet couple who is expecting a baby. It will actually be going into the nursery, so baby's gonna be having a cool room. In this video, I am making over a dresser that I was given from my aunt and uncle. I got this for free, and one of my best friends called dibs on it. So I am making this over for her. She is getting the homey hookup, so I am just charging her the cost of supplies to do this. She is a photographer, so she's done photo shoots for me, so it's kind of like an exchange of services. Her Instagram is Brittany Hansen Photography. I will link it below, so you guys can check her out if you are in the Pacific Northwest area and you need a photographer, or if you just appreciate photography. Head over to her Instagram account and check out some of her work. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, here's the dresser that I'll be working on in this video. I somehow managed to delete the little pre-video footage, but here's a photo of it. It's very country bumpkin style, so we will be changing all of that. So she wanted to remove the back and side little frilly details, so I have to start by removing the actual backboard. There's nothing wrong with this. I will be applying the same backboard on later, but I had to remove it to get to that back piece to start removing all of those little details. So I did run into several issues with this dresser. This is issue number one. After I removed that back piece, I didn't take into account that there was going to be a gap from the existing top to the little sides. So I will be filling that in with part of that piece that I knocked off later. I'm also removing that original base that was all dated, and we will be updating it with a more modern, streamlined look. The side details were actually part of the huge piece of wood for the side. It wasn't something I could just remove. So I had to use the jigsaw to cut those off, and I absolutely hate the jigsaw. And then I ended up gouging some of the edges, which you can kind of see right there. So that was complication number two. Since I suck at cutting with the jigsaw, I took my orbital sander to sand the raised part of the pieces that I cut off to match the actual level of the top itself. I'm going to be staining the top, so I had to hand sand around the curved edge since I don't have one of those fancy sanders with a little cushiony pad on it. Okay, so here's where I fixed my first mistake. I had my boyfriend take that piece that I knocked off the top and he ripped it down on the table saw to size, and then using the brad nailer and some glue, I just nailed it into place along the back. Okay, so now for complication number three. We haven't even started painting yet, guys. We're just still in prep. I braced myself on the frame when I was using the jigsaw, and I just broke all the way through. I was trying to keep it from moving, and it did not work out like that. I also knocked the other shelf things, little pieces of wood loose, so I took some Gorilla Glue and glued that all together. We then took the remaining piece of the back and stapled and glued that under the piece of the frame that I broke so that it would support it and hold everything in place from the damage I did. To continue with the theme of repairing my mistakes, where I gouged out on the top with the jigsaw, I am just taking some craft popsicle sticks and making almost like a little mold and taping it in place with frog tape, and I will be filling it with Bondo, and the popsicle sticks are going to make it so that I have a clean line and flat edges after I sand the excess Bondo off. I'm going to be adding new hardware on, so I'm just going to remove the old ones and set them to the side. And then we will be staining the top drawer the same color that I'll be staining the top. So I am just sanding all of that existing finish off to get it down to bare wood. Every single day. The last step before I was able to bring this guy inside was just to do a few structural repairs to make it sturdy and that it wasn't wobbly, so just use some glue and the brad nailer to finish that off. To create the new base, I just got some MDF, just simple clean line square boards from Home Depot. They were not cheap, of course, right now. I'm using some Gorilla Glue and just putting them in place, and then using the brad nailer, just attaching them to the front and to both sides to give it that updated look. I then went in with some wood filler and filled all the little nail holes and then sanded all of that smooth once it was dry. I used some caulking around the edge of the top of the new base that I added to hide any of those cracks and just make it more seamless, like that's how it was always supposed to look. Okay, now that all the prep and repair work is finally done, I am going to start by staining the top. First, I am applying Minwax Pre-Stain Wood Conditioner. Cover the whole top, you leave it on for about 5 to 15 minutes, and then wipe off any excess. After that, I went in with Minwax Special Walnut. I did a total of 2 coats, but I waited 2 hours in between each application, and then I just wiped any excess off with a paper towel. I also did this exact same process to the top drawer of the dresser. To seal in my stain, I am using Minwax Polycrylic in Ultra Clear Flat, and I'm just applying it with a foam brush. I did a total of 2 coats of this, and I did sand in between coats. I am applying the top coat first because I'm actually going to be painting the outside edges of the dresser, and I don't want my tape to peel up any stain, so by sealing it first, it will prevent that from happening.
I feel like I've been here before, familiar with the view. This ain't nothing new, and every time that you walk through the door.
Using some frog tape, I am going to tape off the edges so that I will not get any paint on my freshly stained area.
Going through changes, but it's easier with
To help ensure that I don't get any paint bleeding through onto my stained wood, I'm burnishing down the tape and just really pressing it on there. I'm then taking the same top coat that I used to seal the top and just sealing the edges of the tape so that if anything does bleed through, it's just going to be the same top coat that's already on there that will bleed through first and will prevent any paint or anything like that from bleeding through under the tape. Using some wood filler, I went ahead and I filled in any imperfections on my drawers as well as old hardware holes, and then I just sanded everything smooth. I always like to pre-drill or measure out my new hardware holes before painting just in case I mess up. So I am just using the old original holes as a template to make sure that everything is straight. These particular handles do not drill all the way through, so I'm just pre-drilling these little holes to screw those in later. Finally, it's time to start painting. I applied 2 coats of Zinsser Bin Shellac Base Primer using a chip brush to the entire piece.
and I don't need any other help than you standing by my side. If only for a while. I'm going through changes, and so are you. I live for the moments when you're around me. I know you've got secrets, but I can't keep them, and we're fading in and out.
Complication number 4, I did end up with some bleed through in a few places, so I applied just straight shellac from the can on top of that, let that dry, and then after that I came in with another coat of primer, and it seemed to fix the issue and I didn't have any more bleed through problems. Once all my primer was dry, I sanded everything smooth with the 120 sanding sponge just to get rid of any texture that could have been left behind from the chip brush. I'm going to be using the color Bohemian Gold by Melange today. This is the color that Brittany chose. It is a really bold color. This is the first coat. It looks really bright and vibrant. However, I did do a total of 5 coats and it definitely deepened up at the end. I reached out to Morgan, who is the owner of Melange, and asked her if that was just the case with this color. Some colors do require quite a bit of coats. She did suggest that in the future to try using like a gray primer, a darker primer, and I could probably cut down to 3 or 4 coats for this. I am an ambassador for Melange, so I do have a affiliate code for you guys. It is Amber10 and it'll give you 10% off your order. I do earn a small commission on this, so it does help support the channel as well as helps me pay my bills. You can use it on more than just paint. They have brushes and top coats and everything. I will leave a list of all the products that I use in this video that you can use my code on, as well as a complete list of everything that I did use in this video. So the top drawer that I stained is actually one giant drawer, but the front of it is made to look like it's two drawers. So I am just taking a detail brush and hand painting down the center to give it that divide. So when you're looking straight at it, it does actually look like two smaller drawers. Okay, so now for the moment of truth, to remove all the paper and the tape from the top to see if there was any bleed through. And I was shocked. That was the first time that I used that top coat trick and it worked perfectly. I did not have any bleed through at all on this.
But I'm still burning. Our love just went cold. Why?
Okay, so to seal this, I am using a new to me product. This is Polyvine in Dead Flat. I've heard a lot about it, but it's been out of stock literally everywhere. But Melange was lucky enough that they were able to get on the list to stock it, so I ordered it as soon as they got it. I am applying this with a blue sponge. It is the Amazon version of the Dixie Belle sponge. It's the same price for a pack of 2 as the Dixie Belle is for a pack of 1, so I will link that below. This was super easy to put on. Literally just dip the sponge in, wipe off a little bit of excess, and just rub it across. The only downside was that there is a 4-hour recoat time, so you do have to wait 4 hours in between coats. But other than that, it went on like a dream. It is water and heat resistant, and it has a really nice subtle sheen to it. I highly recommend this product. I did a total of 2 coats of this Polyvine. We decided that black hardware would look better, so I am spraying these with Rust-Oleum flat black spray paint. Once my hardware was dry, I just went ahead and screwed them all into place. Final step was to wax the inside of the drawers with Wise Owl Salve to rehydrate the wood. I also used this on the runners in the frame to help the drawers slide in and out a lot easier. Alright, before we look at the final reveal, let's look back at how we started with this country bumpkin with those little details on the top and that dated base. And here is the completed look. She is bold and gold now and nice and modern and not country and frumpy. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Remember to subscribe if you're not already subscribed to help support this channel and see future makeover and flips. As always, thanks for watching and I will see you guys next weekend.